Most honest man I know.
The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time is Saturday, April 8th. Children are about to have a marvelous Easter experience. The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time at the Rotary Schoolhouse, the Queen Elizabeth II Botanical Park in Frank Sound. 11 a.m. through 12:30 p.m. This exciting Easter event includes Eric the Magician, sing along with Miss Alea, face painting by Art for You Limited, refreshments, arts and crafts, prizes, goodie bags, lip smacking pizza, compliments of Domino's Pizza. This is a free Rotary event for children 10 years and under who must be accompanied by adults. Yes, Saturday, April 8th at the Botanical Park. Easter fun comes alive. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Another terrific Thursday. Some thought into our thinkings and into our talkings. 949-837, 949-6990. In a bit, Miss Emily DeCool will sit with us and we'll chat about some good things. Maybe we'll get half an hour, maybe we'll get an hour, but we're going to have some chat as we invite you to be a part of the discussion and share. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for sharing with us. Well, our phone lines are available if you want to be a part of our discussion. 949-837, 949-6990. Of course, the toll-free line is there if you so choose. 1-800-534-TALK. That's 1-800-534-8255. The same number you're going to use tomorrow morning as you join Mr. Art for the record. Had an interesting presentation earlier. It's not because it was early necessarily. Not because it was only a rethink of maybe what was shared previously, or if it was even that some of the comments made about economists may have been misplaced or disparaging. I don't know. The old saying say if you throw a rock in a pig pen, the one that squeals. So maybe that's could be part of it. But it was unsettling in that sometimes the perspectives of some they speak from a position of authority. They're invited to share from their experience and perhaps even their expertise. But the question is, to what extent is the humility there, or is it an arrogance? To what extent, and not just the humbleness, the kindness, the gentleness, a country song, be humble and kind. Is it that perhaps for them, the only view is their view? Once they get something, then it doesn't matter if others get. We grew up in this part of the world and we're hearing share and share alike. And some would ensure that as long as they can extract as much and for as long as possible, then that's all that matters. Don't really care, in their perspective, the consequences. We hear oftentimes, to the victor go the spoils, but should it actually be that way? Well, perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. So as I listened to the presentation, I was taken with a couple of things. How as individuals, our own fears drive us to do and not do. They may motivate and captivate. They may paralyze some to a state where they don't act. And for others, as long as what they extract is in their minds valued, they don't care the cost or the consequence in order to get it. And for others, it's a matter of principle. Then the second thing is, we're quick to go along with something as long as it suits our needs, but the minute it sort of creates a bit of disquiet and discomfort, well, we disassociate ourselves. So as I listened to the presentation, I was taken by how oftentimes we will talk about economic models, and when we're talking about the economy and the projected interest rates, the potential for inflation, the employment trends, the different statistics that we calculate, and at the end of the day, we try to make some measured assessment. We're okay as long as it aligns with us. But in there, I think there are two things that immediately come into play. One is we somehow discard the human element, the human factor, the fact that people sometimes will do something that quite unexpected. And secondly, not only as consumers, but perhaps more than ever, as a word that is being often used, influencers, and maybe used in a way that we see it from young people in social media, marketing, supporting, encouraging, sharing something that causes others to consider. You may read different books and find different ways that this is presented. But in listening to that presentation, I wonder if this word, even though it's not used in the context, could it also apply? So those individuals, we call them special interests, we call them the movers and the shakers. There was probably not long ago where, depending on where we studied and how old we are, how long ago we studied, they may have been called robber barons. In and of itself, words that should probably be disparaging, but somehow are hailed and celebrated. So these individuals, when we want them to sound disparaging, we call it a cartel or a cabal. When we want it to be presented in a negative way, we find a negative way to say it. But at the same token, are they able, and if so, do they exist, in order to affect the whole issue of what is transpiring? And I would say that because as I look across the table, the wonderful, cheerful spirit of DJ Lynn entering our studio share with us that we need to be mindful of the impact that we have, the influence. So these individuals, are they such, position and prize that they're able to impact? So if we look at the last 3 years, I would joke each year seems like a century, and wonder to what extent the outcome is because of human behavior, both from the masses or from those who may be able to influence the narrative, as it were. Again, ways in which we present things that are being allowed to be shared, repeated, and oftentimes without question. I always share that, that notion of trust but verify, as the U.S. President Ronald Reagan would be quick to remind his counterpart, the Russian President Gorbachev. And are we willing to trust, but are we willing to look at it and confirm for ourselves and to question, not in an insolent way, but in an inquiring way, not in a way to be, contrarian, but a way to ensure that we're confirmatory. Again, are we of that mindset? And is the environment that we have been created for us and that we've created for others such that we allow us to trust but verify? Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, bro. Rodney.
Awesome, man. How are you today?
Blessed, man. I'm blessed. How are you?
Good to hear from you, man. It's always a pleasure because you encourage much discussion.
I tell you, man, I was giving my friend a chance, but I think that should be, should be it, bro.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah. When you were speaking there regarding that, you know what came to my mind? When Big Mac was in all that problem there came on, which he probably still is in, and because I saw something pop up about it in court or something, but anyway, when all of that was cropping up with him, when he was Speaker of the House, it was like a sickening something to hear both parties of government, the government itself, the oppositions, everybody targeting one individual because of his wrong. It like we all don't do wrong in life. We right now in this 3 little islands here trying to figure out what happened between the two officials in an alcohol, no party name or anything. And everything is just like trying to tell the people to hush and they need to be quiet. We don't want to discuss what's happening. When it comes down to situations like these that happens in the country, the government should be there to assure the people that things happen will be reconciled or they would be fixed whatever way they can. But the people has no guarantee on nothing that's going on. And everybody wants this thing to be quiet. When you stop and think about a country like Cuba, we doing is pretty close to being in that dictatorship government, dictatorship leadership, similar to Cuba. And if people don't realize it, by the time they do realize it, we got to be so under the bushel that we're not going to know how to dig ourselves out or burn ourselves out of it. And it bothers me many times to know that we have people that call themselves leaders, people that call themselves politicians, whatever they want to call themselves.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they don't remember. Say, listen, let us go out there and have public meetings. Let's go out there and discuss and let the people know that on a still in good hands. It's just taking us some time to work on what's happening and that we can get this country flowing and get it going again. I'm not saying that things have stopped in the three islands. I'm not saying that. I am trying to say is we need to assure that people are going to be able to work together in the government to benefit the people of the Cayman Islands and not benefit themselves. That's what I'm trying to explain, Sterling.
You know, as I listen to you, I'm glad that you shared that. And we're going to pause and take a break. We have Ms. Emily Duku coming in. She'll share with us. Yeah. As we listen to that discussion, I want to invite you, whether today, tomorrow, next week, and as often as you wish. I'm going to ask this question. You may choose to answer it. Others may want to weigh in. We look at the politicians. We look at the elected, and we look at the appointed. But I wonder to what extent are we looking at ourselves as voters specifically, right? Yeah. And asking and demanding not just accountability, not just willing to give a corresponding level of responsibility, but to ensure that that power, that authority should rest in our hands, or is it in the hands of those we elect and appoint? And if it's where it is that where it should be? If it isn't, what are we doing about it? Now, let's give us some thought. Let's see where that takes us in terms of what our democracy should be.
Yeah.
All right. After, maybe later, as you think about it, we'll chat about it.
Yeah, man. Cool.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you. All right. Let's pause, take a break. We invite you to join us after we return. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce. All piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Miss Emily DeCoe for sending, her positive energy our way, for bringing her wonderful, engaging presence to our studio, and for allowing us as a people to reflect on who we are, where we are, and perhaps the need to answer the calling to do as best as we can to improve the space in which we occupy. I'm mindful when I say that there are those of us who will gladly talk about our ancestral roots, whether that's the Caymanian going back generations, the individual who's been only here for a short time and can talk about, their varied history. That aside, if we all are here in the Cayman Islands at this time, then we have, in my mind, it's incumbent, absolutely imperative that we work together to make sure that it's a safe place. There shouldn't be some of the things that are transpiring in our society, and not only should they not transpire, some would say that's naive, but when they do transpire, we accept it, or at the very least, we are quiet. So that silence, is that acquiescence? Is it fear? Is it, it's a fait accompli? Wasn't that long ago when gun violence wasn't something in our country? It wasn't that long ago when you would not even think of doing some things that seem to be everyday. And yet, we say, that's just the price of progress. Let me ask of your intellect. Does progress mean that you're putting sense of fear, and the response to that, to improve your safety, is the highest security, a dog, an alarm system, something else, so that you can be safe, perhaps behind your gated community? You left your country where this was the norm. You've come to Cayman, and it's pretty safe. Everybody's living and moving about freely, and maybe for whatever reason you decide, I want to live here and I'm going to do it this way because that's what it was like that I knew where I was from. I don't know. Is that progress? I did say thank you for encouraging us to think. Yes. Thank you for being not just the intellect and with the great insight, But the individual with such a strong sense of independence of thought, to whom much is given, Miss Emily Deco, much is required.
No, definitely. You made a lot of important points, salient points, definitely. Lately I've been, watching how our country unfolds and just thinking, why is it so difficult to get on the same page that, we're such a small nation and teamwork makes the dream work, and, we really should be trying to live as harmoniously as possible.
Yeah.
There's the intent versus impact argument when it comes to justice and how things are done, and the intent of most people is probably to go out in the world and do good and be a good person, and then at the end of the day, the impact and the cumulative impacts, whether it's good or bad, or the apathy you referred to earlier, it adds up and it has impacts. And long term, what do we want our country to look like? Do we want that status quo to remain, or do we want to get on the same page and recognize that things need to be better balanced when it comes to development and nurturing our society and our community for long-term resiliency is really what it boils down to.
I won't consciously nor deliberately speak to a wonderful conversation I had earlier. For two reasons, I really do that, but secondly, still processing. But I had an excellent company of someone, an amazing lady. I mean, just incredible, right? And the willingness to share, the willingness to embrace life and to give, and the notion that you do from love and humility without any great expectation of personal reward, recognition, makes me reflect that so many of us, not only do we deliberately say, I'm doing this because I want that, but the notion that that's why they're doing it. You can see it even when they don't say it. The statue, the knighthood, the building, the road, whatever's named after them. And I'm asking, well, is that a bad thing? Because we probably think it is. If it's not a bad thing, then what is it? And why is it? And what motivates us? And I'm wondering to what extent this country, with the different nationalities in its history, are we embracing and recognizing that we are more alike? And are we understanding the impact that we have? The big fish in the small pond, we hear it, but we apply it to those who come from a society of 50 million or a billion, right? But what about the Caymanian? When we do statistical analysis, maybe 10% of the population, right? When they're saying, hey, we're feeling displaced, they're words like xenophobia as opposed to national pride. Instead of asking, what are the value system that put us where we are, and to respect the turtlers, the seafarers, we somewhat disparage it. And before I continue, another, not necessarily baited, but perhaps a comment that requires further inquiry.
No, definitely. That it's all about balance, I think.
Yeah.
No matter where you live, having a value of respecting where you live. It sometimes catches me off guard when people who are not from here treat our resources a bit better than people who are multi-generational. And the disparity of what we allow to be gotten away with in terms of disrespect in whatever fashion, combined with, again, not everybody not being on the same page when it comes to what do we hold dear as a society, as the Cayman Islands, as people who reside and benefit from what we treasure here.
Right.
Yeah, I think it does definitely, like I said, go back down to balance, understanding our role.
A caring and community spirit.
Has that happened again? All right, maybe let's go to Q. Is the call ready, my friend? No. What's that song? Na, 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 na. Come on. All right, that's Emily Deku. That was not her intro. That balance of which you speak. The phone lines are open if you want. You can hear me okay in your headset, right? I'm still struggling with figuring out what am I hearing here. But 949-8037. 949-6990. And there is Then on the toll-free call, 1-800-534-8255. I'll find out during the break if the other line, Mr. Fox, is that line available to take calls? When he hears me, he'll answer me. We'll tell you. As you were sharing, and as people call in, I want us to start this Thursday. I've been, officially, sort of unofficially calling it Thoughtful Thursdays. Our discussion is going to encourage people to speak. Can I do something in an attempt to sort of illustrate a point? Now, I've not tried this before. I'm not a scientist. I toyed with, on the headset, there's, I call this little two pieces that go together, and the jacks that go in depending on the side of the adapter. So they screw in like that and they go in like that. So it's the Fox, right? So if we take this and we look at it, and I'll place it here. Don't know whether he can see the camera on it or whichever, right? And there's this thing. What does this remind you of? What does that look like? Paul, what do you think? What does it look like to you? Tell me, Paul. I know you know what this is. Okay, she says it looks like a bullet. Put the camera. What does it look like to you? Okay, and that's not actually what it is. He give me the technical term. It's a doohickey. He said that's the technical term. So what does it look like to you? Right? Mr. Emler says a bullet, Paul. I won't tell you what he said it looks like. All right, so yeah. Is the camera on it, my friend? Okay. What is this? It's a pen. Side by side. Look the same, right? Sure. Okay. All right. I won't get into anything as to, comparative analysis relative to size, density, or any of that stuff that my friends who do physics might know. If one looks like a bullet and the other looks the same, and two are very powerful, all right? What can we achieve with the bullet versus the pen? All right? And then what's this? All right? Which is probably the most powerful, all right? Yet we point fingers at others, but we're not willing to look at within ourselves. Yet if we look at some orators, whether they were presidents of independent or communist nations, and they speak, and some, U.S. President Clinton, I believe when I saw him and he would speak, he never pointed like that as Fidel Castro would do, very animated. He somewhat did like this. And I thought about it, and he didn't want to be offensive, perhaps. I think he consciously did it. I think it was something I heard him share. But why is it that we're not willing, with an impassioned plea, with our heart and with our soul and with all our intellect, willing to come to the table, to stand in the fore? In church they say stand in the gap, whatever the religious connotation may be. To the father, again from that sort of patriarchal society, you're the protector and the provider, that you're willing to stand in the fore. And in thinking and asking, we look at the general in the battlefield who send the grunts to the front line to be sacrificed while they stay in the war room to strategize. No different than maybe what's happening now. Yet the masses are willing to be laid to slaughter as opposed to uniting. France, if we look at the popular media, we will be unaware of what's transpiring. But if we look at what they call social media, if we look at the citizen journalists, we are questioning, wow, is this really happening? Is trash that littered throughout? Is this the reason? So why is one that we would expect to share isn't, that we've come to trust the established media, and the other that we discredited now in recent times, but were championing when it was the Arab Spring? Yet information is either not being shared or shared and being disparaged. Interesting, no? Mm. Okay. Pull that mic a little closer, my dear. Is it okay to say my dear? If not, call my lawyer. Just kidding. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 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 Can I say this? I think I've said this to you many times, and even hopefully publicly, but hopefully as positively and respectful as I think I'm saying it. When I look at someone like you, great enthusiasm and intellect, an education that you've put to great use, but a heart of service to words that we like to use these days that may become cliches, empower. But you want to nurture and encourage. You want to bring people so that they understand the importance of contributing. And as they get something from life, that's okay as long as there's that balance to give, right? And when I get a chance to speak with you, whether it's on the phone, whether it's in person, like this, I leave with not just being encouraged, not just being inspired, but feeling a great sense of optimism, right? And I should probably try to say that, in our colloquial jargon, I look at my male friends and I'll say something that perhaps people would hear and go, like I just did with you, my dear, right? It's a term of endearment, of love and respect. It's nothing but the globalness of our society. It could fall afoul of some people because I'm not being sensitive. But how do we get that balance in our community where we all draw alongside, because potentially we want a level of financial and economic success, but above all, we want social stability, economic stability, political stability. We want personal safety and security. And do we only want it for ourselves in our small group, or do we want it shared? No, not shared equally, because if you work harder, smarter, and better, then perhaps your reward should be greater, right? If the guy sits down and he's happy with X because of his effort, that's fine. The next guy sits down and he says, you know what, I'm going to do it this way because it seems to be a more efficient, effective way. He gets 10X. Hey, that's nothing wrong with that. So why is it then in saying that, we go back to what I was sharing with France. We see this thing, we see the people asking, demanding, requiring a level of participation and accountability. They want something because they believe that reflects the ethos of their society. And yet in the Cayman context, we accept it. He's telling me we have a break. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm.
And regardless of religion, background, culturally, I think it's not a big ask to ask of respect. And when it comes to, just your everyday life, it's about approaching things from, a heart of good faith and justice. You're probably, in a profession that is the result of a gap in some way, and that's okay. And there's the duality of life where things can exist that may sound contradictory to one another, but they can be, they can exist simultaneously, and paralleling that in different ways when it comes to, like I said, striking that balance of people who have professions of a social nature, and ensuring that they're taken care of, because we're all striving for an equitable society. So it doesn't matter how you make your money or what you make your money, or it really should just matter that your basic needs are provided, and that is something we can say for everybody.
Right.
And your profession in some way contributes to that, to bringing that to our society, and that's something we should be proud of. Like we are proud to go to work every day, and whatever my profession is, I am an advocate for better and equality and equity. It shouldn't be a debate that we have things like sustainable development goals, like wow, no poverty. That shouldn't be a debate.
When we come back, let me ask the question: does fair, right, and equal, are they synonymous? Are they one and the same? We want to be fair, but is equal? Are they the same? And if not, let's talk about that. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to pause and take a break. The phone lines are there if you want to share your thought. Emily DeCool will sit with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
a caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore family event is back. This Easter Saturday, April 8th, hop down to the Bayshore Mall in Georgetown from 4 to 6 p.m. for sweet treats including popcorn, snow cones, and cotton candy. Don't miss the Easter bunnies, and there's even a kid scavenger hunt with chocolate prizes, plus face painting and musical entertainment. The event is free, and there's free parking behind the mall for parents too. Easter at Bayshore is back. Visit KirkFreeport.com for more information. Happy Easter from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back. And as we, just remind you, our news break is at 2. We'll take it then, but for now, until, we won't say rooster cut teeth, but hopefully we won't just be thinking, we'll be acting positively. I'm honored to have the excellent company of Ms. Emily Duku for sharing with us. For many reasons, your willingness, your confidence, your sense of wanting to invite others to, hey, let's think, let's talk, let's see what we do so that it helps others to improve in terms of quality of life and the like. That's encouraging. I don't believe we ever should stop trying to make life safer and healthier. And I'll use the word better. Some people mightn't like that, but until you can substitute a different word, safer, healthier. All right. I ask, is fair? That's not fair. And equal is. Are those two words the same from your perspective?
There's definitely the point worth noting that there's a difference between equality and equity. When it comes to that conversation, I can definitely say that equitable is fair, and equality, it may have more layers that make it not equitable, so thusly not entirely fair. But I think when it comes to the conversation about fairness and equity, and like I said, like we were talking about, getting everybody on the same page of what we want our society to look like. We want it to be harmonious, and we want our people from all backgrounds and age ranges to be able to coexist, be healthy, and be safe.
We want that level of safety in our society, stability.
It shouldn't be a debate. It should be what we all strive towards in everything we do.
for those of us who have traveled, those of us who have traveled vicariously through others, for those of us who live here and have friends and our family who have lived at other places and understand that level of safety and security that comes from certain communities. And I wonder, and I'll come back to that, but I'm told we have a caller just joined us. Let's take this call so we can get some points in there. Hey, welcome, good afternoon, thanks for calling. Good afternoon, how are you today? Yeah, hello, good afternoon. All right, now, as our callers share, we will do our best once they're engaged, to hear from them, because we want people to know that this is only impactful and effective if we participate, and we need to communicate. And I wonder, when we look back to our parents and grandparents, those who went to sea specifically, and they traveled the world and they've come back and they shared their stories with us, how much of that have we taken on board to value and respect what we have in Cayman? Your point earlier that there are some individuals who've been here for a long time. They're not generational Caymanian. They may or may not have status. They may be long-term, visitors who come, stay a certain amount of time, leave and come back. Or they may be now, permanent residents or new Caymanians or whatever. But they seem to love, respect, honor, and appreciate this place more than others. I wonder why can't we see what we have and work tirelessly to protect, promote, and preserve what we have?
We should definitely not be taking what we have for granted or acting like it. And, I don't think it's radical for us to all be sort of on the same page of what we value and work actively to protect. Because not only do we either, enjoy, for example, the resource for ourselves, but for the benefit it brings to the local economy perhaps as well. Valuing that your neighbors are provided for and taken care of in different industries that are nature-based, because we're taking care of our resources and we're taking care of our community, and we're doing it from the perspective of, we come to Cayman and we live and we stay in Cayman because we value it so much, because obviously it must be some degree better in some way, whether it's you feel safe, you can go to the beach every day, whatever aspect of it Cayman it is, you obviously value it enough to stay here as a multi-generational person, for example, if you've traveled or not, or as somebody who's moved here and decided to stay here and raise their family. Something about Cayman makes you want to live here. And if it's kind of foreign to me that you're not actively daily putting everything into protecting that, and some people may or may not recognize that all the actions that they take, perhaps professionally, or that's probably the best example I can use is how they act in their profession, because they do so on such an industry scale that their impact is quite large potentially. Is that down the line, when it does affect us, is that actually something that's working for the greater good of this society? Or is it, actually creating a problem down the line?
And I'll be conscious of it, and I'll be consciously doing it. All right, let's go to our news. When we come back, pick it up. Let's see where we are. Phone lines are there if those who want to share. And maybe, on the eve of Friday, we can think about what we want to be thinking about as we go into the weekend. All right, let's pause and take that break. Join us right after.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins. April 26th is observed annually as World Intellectual Property Day. This year, the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office will host several events throughout April to educate the public about intellectual property rights, as well as celebrate Cayman's creative minds. The public can register on CIIPO.ky to sign up for the free events or to learn more, or you can call 946-7922. In international news, 9 people have died after 2 U.S. Army helicopters crashed on Wednesday night in the state of Kentucky, officials confirmed. The incident involved the 101st Airborne Division and happened during a training mission near a military base. Military officials confirmed 9 service members died in the incident, saying it was a truly tragic loss. Mexican prosecutors say they have identified 9 suspects thought responsible for 39 deaths in a fire at a migrant detention center. Monday's blaze is now being investigated as a possible homicide. 5 of the suspects are reported to be security guards at the facility. Authorities face mounting pressure to explain why the victims, who came from Central and Southern America, were not freed when the fire broke out. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
HSA's cardiology clinic is now located at Smith Road Medical Center. Our cardiology team provides expert care and treatment for heart conditions such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, arrhythmias, hypertension, congenital heart diseases, among others. The new location offers state-of-the-art cardiac diagnostic testing, including echocardiograms, ECGs, and stress tests. To contact, call 949-8600. At HSA, your heart matters to us.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Caymanbrac on 9th of September 1937. Fondly known as Big H to his family and friends, both a sailor and electrical technician with 5 years at sea and 29 years with cable and wireless, in January 1960, Big H married Cicely Dilbert of Creek, Caymanbrac and had 5 sons. In October 1976, he was united in his second marriage to Francine Porter of Spot Bay, Caymanbrac, and they had 1 daughter. Big H was a part of the band Eddie and the Beach Boys, and in August 1977 traveled to New York, where he recorded and published his album, A Quick Drink by the Pool Bar. Big H could always be found at the Hilton, his backyard kitchen, which he built in the late 80s to house in yams and cassava he cultivated on the bluff, later converting it into an outdoor kitchen which was named the Las Vegas Hilton. Big H spent the majority of his time at the Hilton, and you would find him playing his guitar and singing his heart out while sipping on his 345 beers. He was known for having many cook-ups with his famous beef and pork. On the evening of Wednesday, 18th September 2019, 9 days after celebrating his 82nd birthday, Hinton passed away peacefully at the Health City Hospital in East End, Grand Cayman. He was the proud father of 6 children, along with 17 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to Ms. Emily DeCoe for sitting with us. We do have a caller, as hopefully will encourage and nurture the discussion. Welcome, good afternoon, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon again, Sterling, that's me.
Hey, listen, welcome back, man. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you for being you.
Thank you, and hello there to your beautiful guest.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Just want to mention one thing. I was listening to you there when you mentioned about fairness. How much of fairness do you think revolves around these 3 Cayman Islands that we are living in today, as for where we came from to today, where we're trying to lead our children? How much fairness do you think that we can rely on those that are supposed to make sure that the overall system is across the board and not for certain individuals.
That's a great question, sir. And the best way I can probably answer that is to just say, look at the writing on the wall and see, do you feel like you live in a country where you're prioritized and your needs and the crises that exist are the priority of those tasked to solve those problems? And if the answer is yes, it is. And chances are the people who are saying yes to that question is a much smaller minority than those saying no, because the reality is like we live in a very rich country resource-wise, and there is not a fair amount of fairness. It's why people like Sterling and I do what we do, and we put our voices to advocate for the people in the best ways that we can, and those similarly in the community do so as well. And that's not to discredit the exceptional blessings that we can say that we do have in our gorgeous country. But the things that I think affect so many people that could be avoided or dealt with, it just boil down to perhaps, this, not people sometimes create, in the act of trying to find solutions, they might create more problems. But again, it's back to what Sterling and I were talking about: is do we have common values? Is what are we valuing? Is it people and planet, or is it profit? And our actions will follow suit. So, what does the culture of Cayman look like? Do we, as a culture, as a community, value community and our resources that, like you said, supported us in our yesteryears through times when people went out to sea and created the heritage that built our country, and looking at where we want to go into the future, what society do we want to have, excuse me, and what do we want our world to look like for our children, not only today, but into the future? And how do we align our actions professionally and personally and hold those around us in our community accountable to delivering that outcome that we shouldn't be a debate. It should just be the standard.
Exactly. That is why I asked the question, because just to give you a reference of what I'm trying to get at is I spent pretty close to $100,000 getting one of my children into a college institution, and if you add the two of them, you're probably about $250,000 for the 4 years between the two. And to know that they got come home and the promises that was there for them to come home, return, and have jobs is no more there. But those same jobs that there, they already put someone that.
Right.
Let's not say, I don't want to say not Caymanian, but
I
in a
understand what you're
sense,
saying.
yeah.
Yes.
And that is a disappointment to Caymanians in order for fairness. There's no fairness in the system. So I thank you for your time. I'll go ahead and listen.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And as we invite others to call, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. I'm interested in that caller reference that, and just during the break, I was going to ask about something else that we were talking about. So, unless you wanted to take it, can I maybe just ask another question and ask our listeners to expound on it? The young people of today, what are they feeling and sensing? What are they experiencing? What's their sense of hope for the future? Are they being lured far afield because of the promise of opportunity? Are they being pushed from Cayman, consciously or otherwise, because in their minds, what's the point? They can't afford housing. There isn't any available housing. If there is, and by housing I mean vacant land as well, they can't afford it if there is available. They get an education, was a law degree, for instance, but there's no way to practice, or if there is a practice, it isn't as lucrative as it would be if there was somebody else. Whether these are real or perceived, is the impact the same? And if it's so, are we conscious of what is happening and the impact for what the face of Cayman is?
Yeah, I can speak for myself and attest that I know, and a lot of people in my peer group can relate. But for people in my generation, it definitely is a dim outlook. That being said, there are sparks of hope for me seeing a lot of young people inspired to use their voice and do their best and, empower themselves however they can with information and inspiring their peers to do so, and that ripple spreading throughout. But at the end of the day, it's a lot more efficient when everybody's on the same page when it comes to policy working in favor of how the people want to see their country developed, for one. Which is, industry is not bad, but it has such a profound impact because it is it's meant to impact as many people as possible. And how do we, get back to a point where we put as much importance on careers that are humble and land-based as we do on careers in finance and in law and health, which are equally important to our society. There's a lot of pressure on young people to go to college and get these degrees, and it's not that they don't want to come back. It's just it's very hard to look at the mountain that they have to face, knowing that generations before them were supported more socially. And how do we get back to that? It, I think, goes back to finding that balance between technology and how we've come as a collective world, and getting back into what do we want our community to look like, and letting our culture reflect that.
In trying to answer that question about general upward mobility and advancement in society, encouraging and nurturing its own, but especially its young, I reached out to a couple of people to help, and there are a few things that have come back to us that we're now trying to process. I share this with you and invite the public to weigh in and give us an insight, because it will help me personally. It would appear a number of things. Young people, so the college grad a couple of years ago, the one that is entering high school now, right, seemingly are increasingly of the disposition, because of what they're hearing, sadly, from parents and teachers, right? It's not meant to offend. It's not intent. Doesn't mean that people mightn't feel slighted. Well, what's the point in going off to getting an education and spending? The gentleman just said, I spent a lot of money. Thankfully, glad they made the sacrifice, as parents will do. But what's the point when you come back? There isn't really the opportunity. And then not only are they being openly discouraged, because when they do come back, there isn't anything that they feel would warrant the sacrifice, the financial, the time. But perhaps they're also being conscious and deliberately, you don't need to do that. That doesn't make any sense. Now, if that is happening to a subset of our society, and then there are others. So a wonderful gentleman complimented by even a more extraordinary lady, both of whom are not Caymanian. From the perspective of A, no status, and B, even one that has the immigration status to remain with some degree of flexibility. Say, listen, I love this place, I'm going to work. All I do, probably at some point will share it publicly, because we're encouraging him to do that, because it's so invaluable. But he said, listen, I could be here 100 years. Came here as an adult. I was born elsewhere. I'm not. But I'm going to contribute to my place. I think he's a fantastic guy. He said, but what if the level of encouraging access and the like is being focused on, his words, the new Caymanian relative to the others? Does that equate to, as she said, a social engineering initiative that will change the paradigm consciously or unconsciously, but the consequence will still be the same? And when that was shared with me again a few months ago, I had to go, nah. But these are people who are professional in every sense of the word, in terms of their behavior, but the examination and licensing. These are people for whom their professions give them insight into human behavior, for whom their professions impact materially the lives of people. And if they're saying that from their collective experience, from living and working in other places and from living and contributing to this country, that we have a fundamental problem that we're expecting politicians to solve, but they don't have the skill sets, the tools, the resources, the support, right? But we expect them to solve it. And when there's an issue, we're not willing to say, wait, pause, we need to do something about it. But we're pointing fingers. Again, where are the masses doing the right thing? The collective we.
I think there is none, not none, but perhaps there's lack of cohesion simply because we've grown so fast and not taken time to appreciate how our growth has impacted us and ensured that, you know, if you put all of us into a crocosat at the strands are woven very strongly, and it can hold everybody adequately because it's got to hold a lot, and it's finite what it can do. And I say that to say, you know, it ties into our heritage of thatch weaving, which to me I parallel with how we should as a society be, in the sense of we should be interwoven, and things should intersect we shouldn't be so much in silos trying to figure out different aspects of the same cause, perhaps. Everybody, I don't think it's naive to think that people should be on the same page when it comes to ensuring that, at a minimum, we have a healthy and safe society.
Right.
Anything beyond that is great to have, but it should, once we should strategize to prioritize, I like to say.
Right. But a healthy and safe society, for some reason, are we looking at it that, well, that's only for some. If you have the education, and not only talking about Cayman, but globally, and then in speaking of it sort of from the macro level, how much that is applicable to the Cayman landscape. So maybe you have the right skin tone, ethnicity. Maybe you are of the particular economic class. And I use these words consciously. Maybe you are of the favored religion. Whatever the thing is that in that society would normally dictate that because of that you have access to the education, to the health care. What I was trying to avoid. Thank you for putting it in there.
And just call a spade a spade.
Yeah, thank you. And in the Cayman context, has that now been either A, superimposed, or B, it was there, but now it's being sort of germinated, right? Because one of my family members always shared, and I've taken to saying it a lot recently, hoping, honest to God, hoping that it'll cause us to think and to act in a much more loving and nurturing way. Money can't buy class, was always said. It was said in a much better way, but it's true. Just because you've got money, now there are many of us who have friends who are incredibly wealthy, not because they got a lot of money, but because they got a lot of heart and love and soul and spirit, and you wouldn't know from their dress or the cars that they drive or where they live that they've got a lot of wealth, because their wealth isn't measured in their financial bank account or portfolio or whatever it is. It's in the person.
Yeah.
Class, right? For a simple word. Interesting, huh?
Yes, definitely.
So how do we get then where we collectively understand the importance of looking after our environment, not developing and destroying Bacchus or the beaches in East End. My friend Obi talks about the need to protect colliers, but appreciating the value of that. I'll share with you and our listeners. The phone lines are there, and if you can hear me, call and share. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And this message, I want to pick up one part of it. Talks about an outing on the public beach. I find a couple of things to be unfortunate the way we repeat it. So we don't call Bacchus. We say it with some other way. I'm told by their elders that the spelling should actually be different from what it is, but we do nothing about it. It's Batamanu, it's not Batamanu, or whatever nonsense that we call it. And the public beach is the public beach. It's not 7 Mile Beach, it's the public beach. When the JCs did it and the Leos maintained it, it was the first public beach, it's the public beach. Everybody who should know. If not, you should be told. But they say so they go to the public beach. And with great disappointment that they can't even get to the beach. They can't take a swim. All the vendors, and not saying that they're not saying people shouldn't make, but you can't get down to the water. You're tripping over chairs, a maze of chairs and people, and the changing landscape, and perhaps the reason why people are trying to, what is the word we use? Get the hustle on, right? And as I read that, we see the person in the government, it says, need to take control of all of that, right? So government. We saw an initiative the other day where the police and DCI and different others trying to enforce it, the Public Lands Commission. And it's creating a bit of disquiet because what is happening? Why is it happening? How do we address it? So there's that balance. There's the economic opportunity and the environmental considerations. There's this person with entrepreneurial spirit also understanding the impact of that behavior and action on others. Enforcement, respect, responsibility, and a shared ethos. All out the window.
Yeah.
On a Thursday. I think it's going to fall for Thursday.
Oh, yeah, it's thoughtful Thursday. It is sad to see our landscape not always changing in the way that we would like to see it change. And change is hard. It's hard for me at times to drive through Cayman east to west and see, there's another plot cleared on the beach, and there's no more trees and no more parrots and no more crabs, and it is hard to see, and you feel hopeless, but overall, like, there's definitely an avenue for you to take to make your country continue to look the way you want, because again, it does go back down to that balance, and our policy and decision makers have constitutional and legal rights to find that balance of environment conservation, economic growth, and ensuring that our society is taken care of. And it's their job. It's also our job as citizens to learn how it is our role to hold our elected officials accountable, but also how we play into the demand for certain things and how we can empower ourselves to be more self-sufficient so that cohesion that we referred to earlier can be found a bit more fluidly.
Can I ask two questions, not only directly of you, but for our listeners? There is probably, or let me phrase it, is there the perception that if our people in our society were to physically demonstrate, I use that word consciously, they assemble themselves somewhere prayerfully, peacefully, okay, when we want this or we don't want that, is there a perception that happened, that A, that is not in our DNA, we don't do that, or B, if we do that, that means that it can't be peaceful? So there's a two-part to that question. Before you answer, there's a call. I inquire of you and beseech thee, my fair lady. Let me not forget that question, right? All right, let's take this call first. Welcome, good afternoon.
Sterling, good afternoon. My name is J.R. Borden.
Good afternoon, J.R. Borden. How are you?
Good afternoon to the panel there. I honestly believe enough is enough. You open the window, mosquitoes will come in, and they're going to want to sanction you with all the crap that come with it. And honestly, if this country do not unite, we got to be the next Bahamas when they were fighting to just get to a beach. Bahamas right now is one beach assigned to the locals because they go into frenzy and fighting, and this is what's going to soon happen to our country. Enough is enough. Our politician is only there to line their pockets. And that's the God Almighty truth. And if we don't face the Almighty truth, we got always whole problem in our nation.
If I may ask you then, given what you shared, how do we address it? What do we do about it? How do we make that in a positive way better?
How you do that? Is putting your foot down. Putting your foot down one time and done. If you come to give a service here to this country, you get your service done. You do what you have to do. Okay. But do not make Tom, Dick, and Harry come in and won't dictate to you what to do in your country. They have no respect for the Caymanians. You imagine, I found a young lady on the road crying the other day, and she told me she went to a job, and the man told her because he not having intimate with her, she can't have a job. I wanted to walk up there and just beat that man. But the point remains, we as Caymanians is the slackness around here because we allow it to happen. And we need to stand up. And stand up now before it gets too late. We got to be outlawed and banned in our own country, in our own nation.
Can I ask you to make sure that not only I hear you correctly, but others don't misunderstand?
I preach it all the time,
Yeah,
sir.
right.
I got no tongue, no hair on my tongue.
Exactly. What you're saying, as I hear you, is that we have as a people a certain expectation of a positive behavior that wouldn't allow some of these offensive
what they should start to do, right? In first place, what they should start to do, all companies that register should have a local humanitarian that hire in, resource that hire in.
Human resources,
Number two, when Jim and them was there, when Uncle Jim and them was there, they made certain that our people was catered for work, so they can take care of their family and take care of the people that is around them. Nowadays, you bring this Filipino in, he won't bring 10 in. You bring this Indian in, he won't bring 10 in. That bring this one in, he won't bring 10 in. And it should not be that way.
So if I may chime in, there are a few points I agree with you on, and I think, we've invited and within our own society allowed a sense of, wolves in sheep clothing to be bred and welcomed, where we don't have the sort of collective recognition in our actions that accountability translates to justice. And
excuse me, ma'am. When I told them, I sat with them and I told them, I said, I'm going to give you this dump and I'm giving you $7 billion worth of merchandise, plus this and this and that. It was done. When I told them how to correct so and so and so, it was ignored and it was done. You got some brilliant Caymanians around here and not having the opportunity to express their mind. And it's pushing them to do things.
Agreed.
Pushing them to do things.
We've grown too fast.
It also is wrong that a man get up every day and he love his country. All along, we built the buildings. Now they're bringing in experts that coming from countries that buildings been collapsing and this and that. You see one collapse in our country yet? Because we put love in it, we put care in it, we put our muscle and our grind there to build this nation, and not just making it go to the dogs in order to advise us as a Caymanian nation. We need to stop. Smell the rose before it's too late. That's what I have to share.
All right, before you go, and we certainly appreciate that your connection with the wind and the lake, but to what extent, right, those of us who live and work here, and we may have a foot here and a foot elsewhere, family and friends that we're supporting, so we're living between two nations, right? How much of us are willing to see what is happening in Cayman that we don't think is good for Cayman in terms of maintaining the social harmony, maintaining the safety? Are we willing to not just speak up, but do something to make it, a better, safer place?
So the other day I told them guys, I say, it don't make no sense standing underneath the almond tree and talking about it if you're not going to speak up about it.
Talk is cheap.
That was yesterday I actually told them.
All right. So you don't
hide and talk about it when you could do something about it. Go out and vote the right man in. Get the right people to listen. Stand your ground.
Yeah.
Because when I hear complaining about the nation is in turmoil, the nation is in this, the nation in that, and then you got the opportunity to fix it.
Yeah. Now,
and then the voting man in there that's going to go out and sell out the rights because of money, because of greed.
Right. Not asking you specifically.
Number one, Sterling.
Yeah, huh?
I agree. Money allow us to live on this earth. But you're not taking it to hell with you. You're not taking it to hell with you. You need to stand up and say, well, make me leave this to my children. Make me stand my ground. No, in days, not tomorrow. Tomorrow may be too late. For me, you, and the generation to come.
So how do we get, I'll use the word action, right? Without it, huh?
By uniting.
So how do we unite?
I put in one conference there in Western Casarina a few years ago, and I heard some white guys laughing and saying, Caymanian would never unite, you know why? Because if they unite, they will control their country.
Yeah.
And the same thing that's going on in the house right now, the turmoil fighting, is the same thing, the little nitpicking.
Let me, I know that the connection is challenging to win, but also to break, but you just used a word. And I want to, if you would allow me to maybe invite us to consider it. I'm influenced by something Morgan Freeman said, right? You just said the white man, all right? It used to be, we would talk about a foreigner or whichever, not that it necessarily was in any more disparaging or less. But why is it that we have a qualifier? Why can't we say something? And do you think that's changed now that we're starting to see things in relation to skin color and the like that even further dividing society?
Darling, we're just going wrong the bush with the same picture. He indicates to me as a black man, and I indicate to him as a white man. If he can't respect my opinion about it, then I can't respect his. If he respects my opinion, I'm going to respect his opinion.
Right. And I hear you. And I want to guess I'm asking.
The thing that a lot of people don't understand. I see him there prosecuting McKeever and them. I wonder what they did to McKeever for him to lash out at him. That's the bottom line of that. You have a nice day, Starlin.
Thank you for calling, man. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's try to be a little bit more cognizant of the break. Let's do that. Miss Emily, who knows what we talk about when we come back? Yeah. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
CUC is committed to cleaner energy for Grand Cayman. We've aligned our strategy with the future needs of our country. The CUC team is working diligently behind the scenes, working together to create a sustainable energy future for us all. Using a mix of rooftop and utility-scale solar, our goal is to bring electricity costs down without compromising network safety or reliability. CUC has a plan and we are ready. Follow our journey at roadtorenewables.ky.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Take a ride on the Red Boat Experience, an improvisational musical adventure featuring the traditional Caymanian drum, Saturday, April 1st, 3 to 5 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre. Tickets on sale at the CNCF offices behind the Harkwell Theatre, at Bodyworks Holistic Wellness Center, Queen's Court, and through all participating musicians, or you may contact at Suku Cholet for tickets as well. Adults, CI $25, children 12 years and under are just $10.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
Talk to Dick. But I do have some questions. Talk to Dick.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk to Dick.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks to Mr. Emily and all who listen and sharing. And maybe sometimes some of us think too much or get accused of thinking too much and thinking too deeply. Maybe some of us aren't thinking sufficiently or often enough, and I'm not gonna hopefully say it in such a way that makes people feel one way or the other. But in sharing that, earlier we were talking, I referenced that the public beach and what from the press release seemed to be a joint action. So as one of my listeners referenced, I want to make sure that I said it correctly and wanted me to sort of offer up clarification correction that it's the PLC it's not the PLC, the Public Lands Commission as enforcement falls with the government itself, the ministry, and then the chief inspector who's responsible for kind of enforcement. And it's right, but that lack of accountability and enforcement, because we don't offend people. Maybe it's something that let's see if we can fix. But if there isn't a shared ethos, if it isn't that, as the caller was saying, and perhaps as I heard, that if in the Cayman context the behavior is as what we thought it was, hey, we don't do that. Maybe we need to communicate that, and we need to communicate that by education and awareness, but also by my word, enforcing it. Take for instance, littering. There was a time when, not long ago, words like pristine, Cayman was clean, cleanliness was next to godliness, was our mantra. The late Mr. Rupert would constantly call, and I could hear his unending cry, hey, look at Bacchus. I mean, come on, man, let's not make it the mess that it's becoming. All right, because that didn't reflect his personal ethos that was shared with him, that he's instilled with us through example. And there's so many like him. Remember in town, the buildings, very early up, the sidewalks were being washed down and the roads were being swept because people valued and respected cleanliness. And now, still relatively clean.
Hard to find a garbage can anywhere.
But even when we do
it overflowing, and it does speak to what do we collectively want to see for our country. What comes to mind are countries, for example, Japan and Korea, whose culture is cleanliness is the C in their culture. And people take real pride in their work. Even folks who are employed as street sweepers, like it's work is worship is how they approach their job, and it's an honor to be able to do that. And they're knowing that they are providing for their society a clean and safe community is something they take immense pride in, and they are compensated adequately, and they're treated with respect. They're not looked down upon. They're just as equal in society as a CEO of.
Do you think that was the ethos here some time ago?
Oh yes, definitely. It's our country was built on humility and humbly going out and building ourselves through simple things like weaving thatch rope. Right. Very humble.
Just the other day on the program, Miss Wendy Dandy in particular, Geddes was with her as well, and I'm not going to speak for him. I'm just going to share my perception that and listening to her enthusiasm with respect to the pride that she was obviously enamored with our history and her discovery and revelations, and talking about the turtlers and that seafaring heritage, the innovation of our approach, and in a very short time, how not only how industrious and innovative we are, but how we were, my words, revered. And then we see it with the seafarers and National Book, and we read this stuff. But to what extent are our people respectful of that, sufficiently reminded of it, and then through that exhibiting that in our daily actions? My entire family, probably because of our parents and because of the example of their forefathers, but my two brothers in particular, when I hear them say they're only working half a day, I understand that after 12 hours, they're gonna chill. They can try to see if they can only put in half a day. Now, sadly, I say sadly, their days extend way beyond the 12 hours because work needs to be done, right? But they understand the importance of, come on, after 12 hours, the body needs to take a little time. There's other things to do. I want to come back to that in a second, but I want to be respectful to our caller who's waiting. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, man. How are you today?
I'm well, and you, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, in studio.
Another gentleman who has a strong work ethic, huh?
Yeah, thank you. Dwayne, you're talking about culture and stuff. We have definitely driven away from the culture that we're used to in Cayman. I remember when I was growing up, everybody took pride in, especially their yards. Everybody took pride in their
right.
in keeping their yards clean, and those old people wanted that white sand, and they'd rake that and keep that neat and tidy. But as we constantly kept on welcoming persons from overseas that wouldn't have the same mindset, we find that our culture has been thwarted, and I'm real happy because I was speaking to a lady just a few weeks ago, and she said that she had been put on I think it's a heritage, some heritage. I don't know whether it's a board or what. I don't remember quite, but the minister had put her on the heritage board or something to try to, because his attempt in bringing culture back to the schools and stuff was the aim, and that is one thing I must say I applaud the minister for trying to introduce that, because it's well needed. They need to be teaching this culture in schools and stuff, and our history. You don't go to the United States from an early age. I mean, they're taught about the history of the United States. I was just driving just a few days ago, and suffice to say, the guy who did it definitely is not Caymanian. I see him driving, he filled with a beer bottle, with a beer, and he threw the bottle right outside and continue going like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
But that's their culture. That's where they're used to. That's where they come from. That's their culture. Right?
If I might ask, go ahead, because I want to ask you something. But go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I mean that was just my observations on as I listened to you all, and then and you can always come back to me. But I
yes.
I also doing I don't know what to say. I don't know how to describe it. But how can certain banks, because not all of them, I must say, certain banks in Cayman, how can they have their authority? And by whose vesting of this authority have they received it? So you're going to issue your clients a checking account, subsequently with a checkbook, for your clients to do whatever business they want to do, whether personal or business, whatever, to pay whatever bills. And you write a check to an individual drawn on that bank, but yet the individual can't go to that same bank and get cash, and get the check cashed. He's told he's got to deposit it to an account.
And if they can cash it or whichever, there's a fee. In some cases, allegedly a few dollars well.
But the thing about it, now, just take this for example now. Suppose a friend of yours come to you and say, boy, Dwayne, I'm in dire need, or a family member, I'm in dire need of a couple $1,000. I need to travel right away. So you give him a check because that's known as means of you giving him any sort of assistance. He's got to go to the bank and only be told that they decided 3 years ago that they no longer cash in checks that is written by them, that is drawn on their bank and distributed by that bank. I mean, something needs to be done. These banks is really, really getting away with a lot of stuff here in Cayman.
Yeah. So is it the Monetary Authority? But let me then ask you, and there is another caller, but let me ask you whether you wish to answer or not. If in the same banking sort of discussion, if you as a customer of the bank goes to the bank and says, and I've been told that this is happening when people want to draw out even a sum beyond a certain amount or another currency other than the CI dollar, the bank says, oh, we're going to charge you a fee to withdraw that money from your account. Right?
That is happening as well.
And allegedly it's even to the point where you go to the bank and you want to do a transfer. I've heard two things, right? One, you say to the bank, I'm making a deposit, going in a premise that it fits within the profile that you said to the bank, but it's some cash. You're made to feel like a criminal, right?
Yep.
One individual shared that in a financial institution, they wanted to transfer money from that account to another customer at the same financial institution. Online transfer. I'm transferring from John to Mary, and was told, all sorts of things. You need to make the requirement. Well, what's this money for, and so on. Now, I don't know all the details, but I'm thinking if you're transferring money internally from one account at a bank to another account at the same bank, maybe that's justified, maybe it isn't. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then the final thing that like, it's interesting that you bring this up. No, I had an earlier presentation talking about finance and economics and banking and inflation and interest rates and all these things. And the person shared, well, just a question. So you're a customer at a bank, you got money in your account, you're doing a transaction with a local merchant, and instead of a check, you're using your debit card. And you go up to the cashier and you say, okay, I'm making this purchase, there's money in the account, so let's go and all that. But it exceeds whatever that limit is. Is it $500? Is it $5,000? Whatever the sum is, there's a particular limit. Your amount your transaction can be declined because it exceeds that amount.
Right.
And you have the money in the account, and it's not that you're traveling. It's not a credit card, but it's a debit card. And his question was, well, is that sensible? Is that under the guise of safety and fraudulent transaction? So are you being monitored and being told that you need permission from your bank to allow you to use your money that is in your account, that with the swipe of this debit card, you can now have that money expended? Interesting question, huh?
Very. Very indeed.
Well,
I'll leave you there then.
Well, thank you for letting me ask those questions that were asked earlier. Let's take this call. What do we say? Welcome, good afternoon, thank you for calling.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Trying to be good, but not easy.
Well, you know what? Sometimes, it's a lot easier than we realize,
But trying hard doesn't make it easy, though.
No, just need a harder try.
Yeah, you probably got it right. Anyway, you're quite a topic today that is really tickling. I probably wouldn't have called in. This is kind of matters that I'm interested in because I see this is what, is really in dire straits.
Mm-hmm.
The lack thereof, so many things that we should have as a developing country that we don't. Thankful, yes, but sometimes we just don't talk about what we have. We have to talk about what we don't have, what we need. First of all, for a country developing like this, it's so hard to believe that in the 21st century we don't have any form of consumer protection. You see, there's no politician that seems to want to come along to implement anything like that, because what is allowed here too much, and I'm not just saying that is the particular reason, but these politicians are allowed to invest in anything that has a dollar sign. Similarly, they compete against the very people that they actually has as constituents who vote for them. Something could be wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, though, the Westminster system, winner takes all. Most people that vote, do not know the circumstances that they're doing. The average person that votes only has two things: their labor and their vote. And it looks like a day is almost you can't get much for both. But anyway, someone needs to run the country. But until people become involved more, we haven't had to fight for anything over the last 50 years or so, and that's what's happened. It really got to a point where we got so passive, so laid back, to the point where it's all as well in the tourism industry as, hospitality. But what is needed here is to get like-minded people, not the backbenchers, because there's a government in waiting. That's not the answer. And we keep doing the same thing, voting for different people, playing the same game, expecting different results. You know what that's about, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a bunch of hardcore people, not that many, to assemble themselves that has stand on common ground, that can be a watchdog committee to question these things and represent the people, speaking in behalf of the people. I'm quite sure that if I took a half a dozen people, that I could say handpick, select like-minded people, I am quite sure that we could get thousands and thousands of signatures in support of that. But when it comes to standing up, in numbers, because Cayman doesn't seem to understand that if we strengthen numbers, that is a problem. And again, it's the way we have evolved. We all know the problems, but what caused it? It gets back to the age-old question. We were talking about this, me and my friends from the early 70s. Whom is Cayman being developed for? You see, they took away, along the way, what we had as a Cayman Protection Board, something that, we had something to kind of say, well, okay, we can lean towards that. We felt privileged in that sense. That has all disappeared. So the governments of the past, they have really treated people with serious indictment here in the Cayman Islands. And I'm not expecting that to change anytime soon, because people's power is what changes and makes differences in countries. I mean, just think, not that we can have to do that, let's hope not, but look at the people right now in Ukraine, what they're doing. They're fighting, right, this monster that is just oppressing and trying to destroy them right down to the nitty-gritty. Because evilness prevails when good people stand aside and do nothing. Okay, I can change the topic a bit. Still on the same subject, but just to give some examples. And this government is not to blame for it, but they're the one who could correct it. Many governments of the past, we boast ourselves to be a tourism destination, and yet spend millions of dollars trying to promote Cayman, and yet it doesn't seem, or it seems to me that they think that the particular laws that they have, introduced over the years, that's enough. It's like, oh, we got the laws. But people can come here this morning and catch a fish that born last night, and that cycle is there continuously, right, in great numbers. There are certain species of fish I don't even see anymore. People ain't coming here to see the Dead Sea, that's for sure. There's a lot of rocks along the shoreline. People don't know, probably, the average person don't know about it, but I do, that these rocks are dying because there's not enough small fish, juvenile fish, to take the algae off so the rocks doesn't get any oxygen, the right amount of oxygen and sunlight. Therefore, they're dying. So tourists, they know, a lot of tourists know, when they see it, because they talk to me and ask me, how your shoreline looking like this now. It doesn't seem like the people who's in the driver's seat care about these things. We need to have laws and enforce, put up signs in the airport, enjoy our country, but respect our marine and all of ecology, our flora and fauna. We got 206, 207 apparently different types that we don't have nowhere else in the world, but yet we don't cherish it. We talk about parrots or we talk about cats, in like the subject. But you know what all these things are? These things are smoke screens to hide the real issues, you know. That's why it's like systematic genocide. I can't call it anything else. You know, it is what it is, man. Where we know where we're going, where will it end? We need people to assemble themselves that we can represent, because you won't get the whole populace to do so. But you need X amount of people, form a group that can say, wait, you said this and you said that, Mr. Politician. You said you did this and did that. But here's your record. Because you're voting for somebody for 4 years. Do you know on the job that you can vote, get a job for 4 years, and you're not accountable for it? You can't get fired. You know what that is? It tells me that they have unofficial diplomatic immunity. I think you heard enough today, Dwayne.
Hey, thank you, man. You left us with much to think of as we go into our news break and come back to the calls. A question I'm wondering, do we as Caymanians, as the caller alluded to, there are a lot of things that are here that aren't, anywhere else. Look at the Cayman orchid, for instance, the blue iguana, so much. Even birds, even things by the flora or fauna. Do we even know that it's here as Caymanians? When we do, as the caller shared, do we value it? Are we allowing it to be decimated and devalued and discredited? And if so, why? Well, let's take this break and we'll join our callers right after.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from March 27th till April 1st at his Crew Road Clinic. Clinic appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Now is your chance for big savings on all GE appliances at Brand Source Home Gallery. Shop now through the 31st and save 15% on all GE appliances, laundry centers, refrigerators, ranges, cooktops, wall ovens, beverage centers, wine coolers, hoods, and more. Now through the 31st at Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park. Don't miss this chance to save 15% on all GE appliances. Hurry in today and save big. And also find fantastic deals on scratch and dent appliances.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britke. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
K-Band In Style Fashion Week is here. A weekend of fashion, art, and music. Local and international models will grace the runway. Events will kick off with a welcome party on Thursday, March 30th, 7 p.m. at Courtyard, Grand Pavilion. The soiree is on Friday, March 31st, 6 p.m. at the Ritz-Carlton, hosted by international celebrities Anita Hawkins and Jacinth Headlam. America's Next Top Models, Kiara Belen and Naima Mora, will host the exciting runway show on Saturday, April 1st. Red carpet from 6 to 7 p.m. and showtime is at 7 p.m. On Sunday, April 2nd, enjoy the Escape, a chartered sailing excursion. Join Cayman in Style Fashion Week for this exciting 4 days of events. Part proceeds to the Alex Panton Foundation. Get your tickets from MKY Collection, Funky Monkey, Creative Fashion and Design, Ooh La La, Winner's Circle, Funky Tangs, and Rock Gorgeous Hair Salon.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Police can now confirm the identity of the deceased in the fatal collision, which took place on Tuesday, March 28th on Frank Sound Road. He is 23-year-old Daniel Ernest McFarlane of East End. In international news, Russia is sending a delegation to North Korea to offer food in exchange for weapons, U.S. National Security spokesperson John Kirby has said. Mr. Kirby said any arms deal between North Korea and Russia would violate UN Security Council resolutions. The U.S. has previously accused North Korea of supplying arms to the Russian military in Ukraine and the Wagner Group of Russian mercenaries. Pyongyang has previously denied the claims. Police missed multiple red flags and failed to respond quickly to the worst mass shooting in Canada's history, a report into the response has found. A gunman posing as a police officer killed 22 people in Nova Scotia over a 2-day period in April 2020. An inquiry into the shooting heavily criticized the police response and said that lives could have been saved. It concluded that Canada's federal police force needs a significant overhaul in the aftermath. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
Classic Innovation Beauty and Barber Shop in Tropical Plaza. Full service salon specializing in braiding, weaving, and all things beautiful. Bring out your unique beauty. Conveniently located upstairs, Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Easy lunchtime wash and blow. Avoid the evening traffic with a pedi or taking a full service hair treatment. Kids hair service and special occasions also available. Book your next service at 233-5572. 326-5572 and take advantage of the Happy Wednesday specials at Classic Innovation Beauty and Barbershop. Savings on pedicures, women's and men's hair care. Classic Innovation Beauty and Barbershop. Located upstairs, Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
Between the traffic, the meetings, kids' activities, there just isn't enough time. Best Health Pharmacy was a game changer. Not only are they centrally located on Eastern Avenue, but they deliver prescriptions for free anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. I could not believe it. When my prescription ran out, they ran it back to me. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor, offering free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358. Best Health Pharmacy. Your health, your convenience is their priority.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thanks for sharing to the last caller who says, what was said sort of inspired his contribution. Well, Emily DeCoux, this is what happens when you're with us as well. We have another caller. Hey, welcome, good afternoon, thank you for sharing with us. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, for those who are trying, hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Afternoon, man. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm alright. Afternoon to Emily as well.
Good afternoon.
This is our cousin Ali.
Hey, Ali.
Yeah. I was hearing a little bit of her what she was talking about with the pride with the garbage disposals, and then I agree a lot with the last caller as well with environmental impacts. Now you know me already, I am a environmentalist, and when it comes into anything concerned with the environment, you would expect to hear me call. The garbage, for example, I've noticed that the DEH is doing a great job with collecting the trash and whatnot, but it's also the community that needs to take in responsibility of their trash as well, because I've noticed that in my example, in my the apartments where I'm living in, the tenants, I can't identify exactly who, but it amazes me how the tenants tend to throw away their garbage when they do not even close the bags, for example, and let's just say chickens or cats or whatever it is that's coming down, they're going to be able to take out the garbage very easily because it's already open for them. And another thing, maybe it's somebody in the neighborhood that is actually opening bags and checking and destroying the garbage facility for the tenants. And it's disturbing to know that this type of things are happening. It's either a lack of encouragement from the community to encourage people to be a little bit more responsible with their trash.
If I might ask you, with that allegation, there's someone deliberately doing that. Just explain it. Why do you think they're doing that? Is that looking for food? Is it just malicious to make the place look nasty? I mean, why do you think someone would do that? Would be doing that?
Well, I've personally had a case where somebody stole a bicycle from in the yard, but the thing is about that, I don't know if it's probably a bunch of people that are just, or one particular person maybe, that is just roaming the street in town here somewhere, just looking like maybe there might be some valuable that might be in the garbage that they assume that is thrown away, or a bag that might look like, okay, this is a handbag, let me check it inside of there, and then they're gonna go through the garbages. And
one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And the thing is, right, another thing when it comes into the pollution of the ocean, for example, our seas, I recently noticed that in East End, I don't know if they've dealt with it, if DOB has ever dealt with it or whatever it is, but they have this thing that I would assume is buoys, that is like a net that would help trap the sargassum seaweeds or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a part of it, but they're leaving it on the beach, and it's disgusting. I have videos of it, and it's disturbing knowing that I am in concern of this, but whose responsibility is it to take care of the situation? And why is it being left like it's not much of a priority? Because obviously it has nothing to do with their living, but I don't see them having any enforcement. Department of Environment, I don't see them have any enforcement going on. And a second point with that sargassum seaweed thing, they already know now, like I've always asked, how can they tell when the sargassum seaweed is coming in? Because Dominican Republic, for example, has already taken engagement on preventing the sargassum seaweed from coming into the shoreline and destroying the reef and the coastal areas. Now, when the algae that the last caller was talking about is being covered with the rocks, being covered with the sargassum seaweed, it prevents the fish and corals on the coastal line that needs light to receive light. And also that brings in a part with the South Sound waste. I don't know how you call that, the little that they have for the mangroves. It's releasing tannins into the water, and I'm not going to stress it no more, but it's releasing tannins in the water. Yes, the scientists that is in the Department of Environment might tell you that it's not harmful. Of course it's not harmful, because fish and other animals, that they rely on this thing as like an antibiotic to prevent themselves from diseases and whatnot. But that is not natural. This is actually coming from dead trees that they're clearing land from inland in the swamplands where they're developing apartments and condos and permanent residence for people. And then the worst part about it is that the tannins that are released into the ocean coming from these drains are actually lowering the pH of the ocean, which corals do not like. So I know about corals because obviously I have a little experience in them for the past years. But when I see these things happening on a large scale, it's almost impossible to stop it unless we just stop doing exactly what is causing it. And that's the development of the swamplands.
Hear you loud and clear, Ali.
And I cannot imagine if they continue with their development in the north side with the swampland that they are planning on putting in the how it called Northwest Arterial.
East-West Arterial?
Yeah. I cannot imagine the disaster that that's going to cause.
All right.
Yeah, it might not be a physical disaster, but it's inside the ecosystem is going to hurt, something that we cannot see until further in the future.
Spot on.
We're not going to see it right now, but it's going to be in the future when it actually impacts.
Mm-hmm. So,
hey, thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for it.
Thank you for the passion.
Yeah, bring those to the point.
No, thank you, Ali. It's good to hear from you.
Interesting, though. I know a thought process, and what I'm hearing as well is about the timing, not just what we're doing, but the timing. Yes, there's that balance between development and environment, but not only for whom and why, but when, the timing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can talk about that. I know you have something coming up that I want to ask you about.
It all
15 minutes.
It all ties in, I think, with what Ali, the last caller, was talking about. On my side, many people may know my role within advocacy groups. I do try to emphasize that, generally people are not anti-development, they're just pro-sustainable development. And it's about striking that balance, because we should all be pro-Cayman. And what does that look like? Does that look like... it looks like prioritizing our heritage and culture, which looks like preserving our environment, making sure, we take pride in holding people accountable when mistakes are made, in the sense of it's hard, but it's worthwhile because we understand and we appreciate and we respect that when everything ecologically is working in tandem, symbiotically, and we are, as humans, in a chain, ecologically, that we have a role as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're not working in different directions and the chain isn't as strong as it should be. Everything feeds into one another, and even if we're on a mass scale not doing the right thing, that also has impacts that come full circle. And, similarly to what Ali was talking about with the sargassum and with the developments that are coming, on the table for Cayman, not only those that have come up and we've seen over the last few years and the trend of the direction of development, but also announcements by government of development that is being planned, and asking ourselves, really, what do we envision for our islands and what do we want our children to inherit? To kind of talk into how that comes full circle into why I reached out, Sterling, to come on and talk about my project of mine. What I envision for future generations is a Cayman that is safe, and the resources, not the oceans and the land, are healthy and abundant and vibrant, and kids and people and elderly can walk and not die of heat stroke or feel like they're going to pass out because there's no trees. Exactly. And people can rely on social infrastructure from a security perspective, but from things like transport, healthcare. You can trust that the standards are being applied consistently, and there's no one group benefiting more than another simply because of the presence of capital. So to kind of come full circle, like I said,
So when we come back then from that break, tell us about something that you have coming up.
I do.
Because that may help us to appreciate. If not now, when?
Yeah.
All right.
If not me, who? If not
exactly.
now, when? Yep.
Let's pause. We'll tell you about that in a sec. Stay tuned.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Hello, Cayman. I am the reigning Miss Teen Cayman Islands, Brianna Livingston. It's that time again when girls ages 15 to 18 will have the opportunity to be Miss Teen Cayman Islands 2023 to 2024 and a Cayman Islands Youth Ambassador. It is a life-changing experience and an opportunity you won't regret. For more information and your application, visit the Miss Teen Cayman Islands Facebook and Instagram pages. Hurry now! The deadline for entry is March 31st, 2023.
In order to facilitate pipeline improvement works, Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise motorists and other road users of the following traffic diversions that are scheduled to take place on Sunday, 2nd April from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastbound traffic along North Song Road between Kingbird Drive and David Foster Drive will be diverted along Redgate Road. Northbound traffic along David Foster Drive between Scott's Barcadere and North Song Road will be diverted along Old Joe's Way. During this time, local access only to businesses and residences in the area will be available, and flagmen will be on hand to direct local access traffic. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity, and all motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of the motoring public and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
Are you a Caymanian job seeker searching for employment? All jobs, whether full-time, part-time, temporary, or permanent, will be required to advertise on the Jobs Cayman portal. Visit work.ky. That's worc.ky to start your job search to see all available jobs or to apply. For assistance in registering or to learn more, call toll-free 1-800-534-9672 or customer care at 945-9672. 945-9672 today.
Row Variety, centrally located in Tropical Plaza on Smith Road, carrying a wide range of household items, bathroom accessories, towels, clocks, handbags, clothes, shoes, jewelry, and more, and more, and more. You can buy from the big box retailers or support local. The better deals come from shopping local. Row Variety Store, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road. Telephone 924-9553.
Take a ride on the Red Boat Experience, an improvisational musical adventure featuring the traditional Caymanian drum, Saturday, April 1st, 3 to 5 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre. Tickets on sale at CNCF offices behind the Harkwell Theatre, at Bodyworks Holistic Wellness Center, Queen's Court, and through all participating musicians, or you may contact at Suku Cholet for tickets as well. Adults, $25 CI, children 12 and under are $10 CI.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Miss Emily DeCoe for sharing with us. I've thoroughly, as I always do, enjoyed spending this time with you. I've had an opportunity to learn a great deal, to be encouraged and inspired by much that was said, not only from and through you, but from our callers. And I'm hoping that this helps to facilitate us thinking, but acting as well in a very positive, productive way. Easter is among, the days that lie ahead. I know we've only got a few minutes left, but I understand there's something transpiring.
Yes, no, definitely. So I am excited to share my latest project in support of the Island House nonprofit organization, who has launched its inaugural Cayman Camp for Easter. And it's going to be 8 days of fun for campers to learn about Cayman, including different days learning about our heritage and having fun creative projects that get them working with their hands outside in a fun, safe environment. So the headquarters for the Island House nonprofit are in Savannah, down Buddy's Way, and I encourage folks to reach out to me. I'll be leading this camp proudly and happily, and with much excitement. So please do reach out, give us a call if you're still looking for a space for your child who's between 11 and 17 for Easter, and let's talk and go from there.
So this Cayman Camp for Easter. We know Good Friday ends 1 week and Easter Monday starts the other. So it's those 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's the 4 days of the first week and then the 4 days of the after, because we're taking Good Friday and Easter Monday off, because we understand that people have, go Easter camping and whatnot, and the traditions that we have in Cayman, and people travel as well on Easter long weekend, so we understand that. And it'll be Monday the 3rd to the 6th, and then the 11th to the 14th.
Right. And then ages 11 to 17 for our young people.
Yeah.
What time of day?
So it starts at 8 a.m. and it ends at 3 p.m. So we're kind of following a similar school schedule, so parents aren't too inconvenienced with their routines.
And for those who want to either get more information or to register,
please call. It's 516-1317, and that's you'll get in touch with me, Camp Leader M. Yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna also be teaching the kids about sustainability, different ways that they can take care of the Cayman that we all love, which, like I said, it comes full circle to what we were talking about on today's stuff.
Yeah, this is it. And this is where I think, as we look like where we are now, what is Cayman going to look like 10 years from now, but even potentially 50, 100 years. There are some cultures that for them, short term is 50 years. For us, long term is not even 4. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but what are we thinking when we're thinking of down the road, right? Our parents would say, save some for a rainy day. They would say, waste not, want not. And then, maybe as a child, we didn't understand it. They would say, save some for tomorrow. So we thought, well, today's Thursday, then tomorrow means Friday. And when Friday comes, well, can we get it? No. Eventually we understood, no, they meant tomorrow. And tomorrow may never come.
That's the principle of tomorrow.
Was the principle of tomorrow, right? So maybe in teaching and inviting and including our young, they'll get to appreciate this, so that we as their parents and elders might take it on board as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the hope is that with Cayman Camp, kids will go home having learned something new about the country that they call home, and something will spark within them that makes them want to protect what it is that they love and call home. It's we're gonna get kids off their phones and working with their hands. Maybe. Yeah, getting a little messy, but it's gonna be really fun. And like I said, if you're interested in having even a tour of the Island House, or want to know how you can donate or learn more about the organization and our aims and mission, please do reach out. Like I said, 516-1317.
Well, I'm hoping that people will do that, and as we think about what we are doing, how we can do it, that positive impact. School's going to have a little break. We are in very formative times, either because of our age or the stage we are. And the more that we appreciate the impact that we have on the people and the place around us, but also that impact that's having on us. Collectively, maybe we can appreciate the individual effort. I'm excited. I'm hoping that after the camp maybe you'll come back and give us a little preview.
Definitely.
But for that, 11 to 17-year-old, it's maybe an interesting way to spend the 2 weeks or even one of them.
Absolutely. And we can, allow persons to partake for perhaps 4 of the days. We understand, like I said, we're very flexible. We're just really excited to launch this program because, like I said, all proceeds go back into the nonprofit, which is developing a youth mentorship program where we'll be pairing professionals from the community with kids in the community who just need that little bit of extra support.
And something that on a personal level, I'm trying to reflect on it as to the motivation for it. But when I look at our community, we oftentimes will assign a label that we perhaps have garnered from elsewhere when we look at the Cayman youth. And for me, all of us are at a degree of being at risk or are in need of some assistance. That young professional who has graduated at the top of her class, truly promising, has all the right attributes and the like, could still benefit from a word that we ascribe, a mentor. So too could that very young adolescent, irrespective of parentage or the financial wherewithal. We all need guidance, direction, counsel, nurture, and encouragement. And are we doing that enough for all of us? So this is an opportunity where maybe we appreciate what we can do and what we'll get from that when all of our people are aligned. So the society is safer. Society is measured by what it's doing for each other. This is what I like with you, man. You bring much for us to consider, but you offer incredible, intellect and wealth of sort of not just experience as it is or expertise, but enthusiasm. And sometimes that hope is what gives us a sort of a positive expectation. All right, so what, 516-13-17?
Yep, that's correct.
They want more over the Easter break?
Yep, so like I said, Easter camp, Cayman Camp for Easter starts the 3rd and runs to the 14th over 8 days. So from the 3rd to the 6th, and then from the 11th to the 14th. And if you'd like to sign up your child for Cayman Camp or get a tour of the Island House, learn more about the organization, please do reach out, 516-1317.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you too, Sterling.
Always encouraged.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
And I'm hoping that as a people that we start to think more, to with our minds and our hearts in a very positive, productive way. And as we look at where we are, that we start to appreciate that to get to that space that is safer, more nurturing and encouraging, that we have to do something positively and together. So thank you.
Thank you too.
All right, it's a Friday coming the day after today. Not today. I know today's Thursday. And we invite you to join Mr. Art in the morning for the record. Come back for a talk today. Looking forward to a discussion. The courage with which people take and act and then nurture can inspire. I'm honored to have that discussion tomorrow. All right, enjoy your afternoon, and as you go about this place, be mindful that your actions have impact. So let it be positive. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including